to our weekly The Art of Advocacy show. And I'm very excited today because we have a special guest all the way from Israel, which to me just shows how technology can bring us all closer and how we can benefit from that. I'm Charmaine Tanner. I'm a parent, advocate, and also a retired teacher and #1 best-selling author of the book, The Art of Advocacy, a parent's guide to a collaborative IEP process. So today we have a wonderful guest and father inventor, and he, like I said, lives in Israel. His name is Doron Somer, and he is going to be talking to us today about AngelSense, a very special and newly designed GPS tracker that also has voice monitoring solutions that parents can use. So welcome, and thank you for coming to our new Facebook Live show.
Hi, Charmaine. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I thought it would be great if you could start by talking a little bit about your son and what was not only the inspiration, but the need that you saw to develop this new kind of device.
Okay. So I have two kids. One is 24-year-old. He's a typical child, and the other is 19, and his name is Itamar, and he has autism, and he's really the sweetest child in the world that you can imagine. I think not only in my eyes. And he's 19, but naive and vulnerable like a 3-year-old. You know, I was just traveling recently, and he was just happy with me bringing him back a piece of chocolate. So he needs constant love. He keeps asking if you love him. He needs to be stroked to fall asleep. The most vulnerable child you can imagine, and he'll be a child forever. And you can just imagine that, and you're all familiar with this, the worry that a father has to a child like that. And we really experienced everything from minor neglect by caregivers and all the way to abuse, unfortunately. And the numbers really are horrendous. You can read all kind of statistics talking about 1 out of 5 suffering from physical abuse, 1 out of 6 from sexual abuse. It's really we're not alone in that worry. But really, when I look at it, the need is much more basic. I almost look at it, you know, when I have a typical child, I send him off to school, and he has his smartphone. I can call him. I can know, did he arrive on time? Did he leave late? When is he coming home? You know, is he well? I can speak with him. So it's a very, very basic need. And somehow all of us parents of children with special needs got used to the fact that we don't have that with kids with special needs. We just have no idea what's going on with them. It's inconceivable. You're sending a child which is so vulnerable, and you have no idea what's going on. So the whole inspiration for AngelSense came from that. For the last 30 years, I've been in the high-tech industry, worked some of the years in Silicon Valley and some of them in Israel. And I always, my expertise was in sensor processing like GPS and voice and other sensors and analytics and how to make up valuable insights from these kind of sensors. And it was clear to me it can be solved. And just nobody tried to solve it. All I could find out there was, you know, some GPS trackers. They're all identical, hundreds of them, very unreliable because GPS basically, and that's the reason that many parents were disappointed from these technologies. GPS is not fit for personal tracking. We're used to use GPS in car navigation and things like that. When you're on the road, there's windows around it, everything is fine. But our kids, they go in and out of indoors places, and GPS doesn't work. You get non-stop false alerts that your child has left school. You drive 100 miles per hour to see what happened, and he's sitting smiling at class. So that's not a technology that we could use. especially with a child that can't effectively share what you go through. You need something very reliable and that give us true visibility to what's happening with our kid, and not just a location on a map. And that was why AngelSense started together with Neri, my co-founder.
Right. And when we were talking a little bit earlier, and I was saying I have an adult son with Down syndrome, and he rents a house with a couple roommates. But something like this would be great for Dylan, because when he goes out with his roommates to the movie, I could make sure that they arrive there safely. I know when they're leaving the movie theater and when I can expect him to be back at his house. So many times I think parents hear about a GPS tracker for kids with disabilities, but they don't realize it's not just for students who might wander off the school playground, but it really has applications for a lot of both children and adults.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So on Facebook Live, so we're on our Facebook Live show. I have a question from a father in Colorado, and he says that they want. Let's see. Let me go back to his first question here. He said, "Just got our AngelSense last week. School wants to install it on a desktop. How do they get access?" And then he added, "They want to see that the listen in option is off during school hours. I want to know that they cannot listen in at home. So what would you advise him to do there?"
Okay, so he can contact our customer care there. By the way, we have chosen a very unique model. All of our customer care is based on moms to children with special needs that are working from home. It's part of our mission to allow them to get back to the workforce. So they're available on chat, and they can also email. But basically, this is an issue that we are familiar with. Most schools welcome the device because it helps them keep the child safe. From time to time, we hear about schools that want to have the listening being turned off. And we've implemented a special mechanism just for that automatically turns the listening option off during school hours. And the school does not get a listen-in authorization. So only the parents have the listen-in authorization. So school will not be able to listen in, and the listening will have to be disabled automatically during school hours. And, I think that years from now, this will be a fight that we should be fighting, because the safety of our kids is the most important thing. But right now, when some schools ask for that, we allow this automatic disable, and that satisfies the school.
Great. So this might be a good time for you to share your screen.
Yeah.
Doron's going to share the AngelSense website and go through some of the specific features. And then, Robert, if you have additional questions, feel free to type them in here, and we'll make sure that we answer those.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So really the starting screen, when you go into the app, already gives you a sense for why this is so much different, and it's not just a GPS tracker showing a point on a map. We want to get full visibility for the entire day of the child and the previous days and how he's being cared for and what's going on. So we take this GPS data, which has a lot of errors and a lot of issues just by the nature of the technology, and we do these smart analytics to make it reliable and to give the parent a high-level understanding and very clear at-a-glance view of the child's day. So you can really see that he was at home, then he was in transit, he got to speech therapy, again in transit, and got to Sean's house, how long he spent in each place. You can actually see the speed, if it was above a certain speed level. If you click on any of these transits, you can actually see the very detailed route on a map. That's something, again, that GPS trackers can't give because they give some ad hoc points on a map. But we do smart power management that lets the device run for a full day and still give you very detailed routes at the level of seconds. And this is important with kids like ours because we need to see if they're not taking a longer route than usual, because it's hard for them to be on the school bus many times. Did the bus stop anywhere, for in a place they're not supposed to stop? So this kind of high level and clear view is very key. And once the system learns automatically, this all happens automatically, the schedule of the child, it can start detecting when there's something unexpected happening. And you can get actually alerts when the child reaches an unexpected place. And we have so many cases from parents for that. A child was dropped off at the wrong stop, non-verbal child that was dropped at some house, and the parent got this alert, and then they opened the listening and heard the child in a stranger house. We had a very difficult case that the child was actually sexually assaulted. That was her life was saved like that. So this is a very important need for us to know proactively. You will get an alert if the child reached an unexpected place. Next, we have many children who are elopers, and the parent needs to be able to find them quickly. So we have a special runner mode that is used for that. And everything we did, we worked so tightly with the community. All of our customer care, as I mentioned, our parents, and everything was built with real life experience of finding these kids. So for example, you see here this icon with me here saying my location. So we had parents that lost their kids in non-urban areas, like on a beach or some forest, and where there are no street signs. So seeing the dot on a map of where the child is doesn't help you because you have no street signs. So showing your location, the me here shows your location, the parent, and where you are relative to the child was really crucial to find the child. The listen in is key when your child is lost indoors to get another sense, because GPS is not working indoors. So that's the runner mode. Wearing is a big thing. I think it's worth that I show you. There's a little video here. I'll show it without the sound. That shows some of the different wearing options. It was something we worked on a lot because our kids, many of them have sensory issues and sensory sensitivities. So what you can see here, you can see the different options. So the device goes inside a sleeve like that, and it can be secured inside a pocket, for example, and the sleeve is really non-intrusive, it's black, doesn't attract the child, and it's secured in a way that only the parent can remove it with a special magnetic key. And it's very flexible. Many parents use it in different ways. So inside the pocket like that is one option. Sealing off the pocket, so parents told us they do that because the child sometimes reaches, puts his hand in the pocket and reaches and tries to pull out the device, so they just seal off the pocket like that. It's another option that parents use many times. Some of the other ones are actually attached to the back along the waistline like that, again away from the child's reach. That's also something very popular. We created the belt for kids that take off their clothes. And girls also use it, and kids that take off the clothes. This is the magnetic key. Only the parent can open it and take it off. And then we give all kind of guidelines of how to do the wearing, how to practice over the weekend. So we have a lot of knowledge in how to successfully succeed with that. And most parents succeed with our help, again, because all the customer care are moms, so they are using the device themselves and they know how to do that. The listening, we talked about that. Again, if you take the phone analogy, our kids, some of them cannot answer a phone, so listening is the best way to hear them and see how they're doing. First responder alarm. This is something, again, that we learned, everything we learned, as you say, in blood. We learned it from real life cases. We had parents that lost their child, or their child was, we had all kind of cases, and then they were so rushing to get to the child as quickly as they can that they couldn't even find the time to call the police. So what we did, we created the first responder group alarm. And what that does is that the parent can predefine a set of trusted people that they would like to help when need to search for the child. It can be teachers, it can be friends, family, law enforcement. And when the child is in danger and when you need to get to the child quickly, there are, especially with kids with autism, they are very fast and they very quickly can reach water or a busy road, and there's a very critical time window. Some people say 30 minutes to get to them quickly. And when they are lost, you click on a button in AngelSense, and right away, this entire group gets a text message with a link to the real-time live location of the child. And they can all participate in this highly effective search team to find the child. So parents are using that. It's really life-saving. And the last one is exactly the school dashboard regarding the question before. So we allow school to access the system. They can only do that during the school hours. And we can also automatically disable the listen-in if any school requests that. And lastly, our amazing customer care moms, they're doing just an unbelievable job. We had a case of child that ran away in New York in Christmas Eve, and they were all online all night to just try to help with any piece of data that we can. This is really for all of us. It's so much more than just a company. It's a life mission for us to basically keep our kids safe. So that kind of give you an overview of what AngelSense is.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful, and I just love the variety of ways that it can be worn. Because I know when I first heard about it, I thought, well, what if the child just takes it off? I mean, there's kids that won't necessarily keep it in their pocket, but you guys have thought of that and have that magnetic way that only the parent with a magnetic key can remove that. Um, we have a mom online, Karen, and she was saying that they've used the belt option. She has a son that's 11 years old with Down syndrome, and that's been really helpful for them. She had another question. She said, is it true that the app will progress to show location within a building?
That's a great question. So what this is a very interesting technological challenge around the world that everybody try to solve. Apple, Samsung, basic being able to locate a child indoors. So what can be done there is a few things. One, at a very basic level, showing a very rough location, we will be able to show that, using Wi-Fi and other technologies. This is not very accurate. This is just the limitations of the technology. We won't do better than Google and Apple in that. We will use those technologies to do that. But, because we are trying to solve a very specific problem of searching for a child, we will provide a very interesting search tool to search for your child indoors. So stay tuned. That's something that is on our roadmap, not too far from now.
Oh, good. And we have a question that is asking, do law enforcement have to have the app in order to help?
No, we are very, this is something that we thought about a lot. We don't want to create that kind of limitation. So basically, when they get the link, it will just open a browser and they will get a temporary login for just 24 hours or until the parent basically clicks on a button to say everything is over, I found my kid, and they can only access during that time and they don't need to download the app.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I think that I just love the idea that, if something tragic would happen and a child would go missing, that immediate alert system and everybody, being able to search versus without it. I mean, we've all heard the tragic stories in our country and around the world of students being lost and not being found. So I can imagine that families around the world are really using this device. And so, do you find, do you have more customers in one country versus another, or what are you finding?
So what we did, we are a young company, and one of the key things to do is to be very focused. If you want to grow and be able to serve, we are very determined to create something that will change the life for all kids. But to be very focused, we started with the U.S. Market, and we're very focused on that initially. To create a brand, right? We're a young company. Many people don't know about us yet. So this way we can make ourselves familiar with all the organizations. So we already see that. All the key organizations already understand that this is by far the best solution. But when you have all kind of, very known companies for 15 years selling the basic GPS devices, you need to get your name out. And to do that, you have to be focused. So actually, we're very focused on the US right now.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably a great strategy. So there can be that increased awareness, and as more families in the United States use the device, I'm sure that helps tell the story to other people, and will spread that. So I'm looking forward to families being able to have this option. I just can't believe all the features that it has. And like you said, the listen in. So when a child would be in a building and it might be hard to know, you could. So do you want to explain like how would you be able to talk to your child, or you just turn on the listen and you can only hear the child?
Okay, that's a great question. What we're doing right now is the listen in option. Basically, you click on the button and then you can listen in. But the more that it's becoming clear that this is really just such a basic need to be able to communicate with your child, we're opening that up more to two-way communication. We already have a beta going on with that to be very wide in all the communication options we offer and be able to talk to the child and calm him down. So that's definitely coming up.
Right. And I think from an advocacy standpoint, I've talked to some parents. I mean, I had a parent just recently where their son walked out of the front door of the school building and was gone for over an hour, and no one even knew that the child was gone. Luckily, somebody jogging on the street found the child and they were able to return him to school. But um, I just think that this is going to be, like you said, give so many families that peace of mind. Um, but from an advocacy standpoint, when I went to a school meeting with the family after this incident had happened, one of the things that we talked about was using AngelSense as assistive technology and actually writing that into the child's IEP. So families who are listening and are wondering, and they might be getting some pushback from the school, I think it's critical that in the United States that actually be written into the child's IEP. And like I said, usually the place for that would be under assistive technology. The other advocacy tip I have for families is to always make sure that you submit your request in writing. So if you feel like this is something that's going to be helpful for your child to use during the school day, that you send a letter to the special education director, talking about or writing about your child's needs. I always caution parents not to use the four-letter word want and when they make requests, because the law doesn't care what the parent wants. It's based on what the child needs. So if this is a device that your child needs in order to be safe, then you need to state that and it needs to be in writing. And we'll go into some other advocacy tips in a little bit, but we had some more comments on Facebook Live, and Karen was saying that this situation is what happened to us. The staff were looking in the building and they had no idea that he was outside. So here, the staff I guess, recognized the student was not in the class where he should be, but they spent so much time looking for him in the school building and didn't even realize that he was outside.
By the way, one more thing that we're going to release very soon for indoors search is a way to create an alarm on the child's device. So, when you get closer, sometimes they just hide, somewhere that is not so far away. And when you get closer to them, you can activate that and you will hear, where the child is.
Great. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. So I'm sure you've been collecting different stories from families. So what other feedback are you getting from parents that are using AngelSense?
So, this is really the most rewarding mission you can imagine. We're getting on a daily basis just unbelievable feedbacks, and they are all over the range. Some of them just talk about the peace of mind that they're getting, because as much as bad things can happen to our kids, most of the time everything is fine, right? And we just worry. So just the peace of mind is a big thing we're getting a lot. Many parents talk, by the way, about just how it makes their life easier. It's that thing of not knowing what's happening with the kids. So just knowing, instead of waiting in the bus stop outside, doesn't in any weather, to pick up the kid, and you have to wait there 20 minutes in advance because you don't want to be late. And now you know exactly when they're going to arrive. And the parents have so little time for themselves. So just getting that extra 15, 20 minutes and be there just when you need is a big, big thing, right? And we're getting cases of bullying prevention. We had a case the other day of a mom that saw the bus stopping somewhere. She listened in, and then she heard other kids bullying her son. She just drove like crazy there and took him off the bus and just stopped that. Lots of wandering cases that most of them are just finishing very quickly in a very positive way, because the system alerts you so fast and in such a reliable way. It ends up in a small nice story where the kid just he left home, and then they found him eating ice cream in the neighbor's house or something, and they could just find him right away. And some of them are bigger. Like we had a kid that was the parents went to visit some home, and he just ran away to the woods, and they just went after him and actually activated a police helicopter that used the app to find him. So this entire range, again, to the most extreme one, like that very tough sexual assault in Texas, that her life were saved. Many parents talk about giving more freedom to the kid. So I think like what you mentioned, having a higher functioning kid, they never let him go to friends, or we had cases where the kids themselves approach us and says they want it because they want their parent to give them more independence. So it's really in the entire range.
Right, right. And we have another person on Facebook Live, Tanya, and she says, "Oh yes, my son loves hide and go seek and doesn't understand when it's appropriate to play." So I think that speaks to your example of when kids might just be playing around, but as a parent, you panic, and it's like, oh dear, where is it,
By the way, another interesting thing that parents are very creative in what they do when you have such an amazing tool in your hands. So some parents actually use the fact that you have a timeline like that, and when you click on the places, you see the picture of the place. So they actually use that to talk with the child about their day. So some people need that extra encouragement. When you show them a picture or something, they will talk about it. And we allow the different caregivers actually to share the app as well. So now school can talk about how was your weekend at grandpa's or grandma's. So depending on the parents, some parents I feel comfortable sharing with my school my entire schedule, so they can talk with Itamar, how was his trip to his grandparents over the weekend. So with kids with communication challenges, that's a big deal. Now you can be able to share everything among the caregivers. So it's endless. Suddenly you know what's happening with the kid. it opens up unbelievable number of options.
I know, and that must be so, I don't know, just so gratifying for you, because here you saw your son and you were able to invent this device, but now, like you said, all the applications, and for, like you said, for students that are nonverbal, it's very difficult for them to come back to school and for people to be able to know or question and have a conversation. So all of that is just, oh, it's like so exciting. It's amazing. I mean, we look at, students that get speech and language therapy at school. This could be something that the speech and language therapist would use when she's working with a child. So, yeah, I'm sure the possibilities are endless as far as applications for this. One of the things that,
Sometimes I wish that Itamar could understand the impact that he actually contributed to make to thousands of kids. I remember in the early days when we did a pilot here in Israel, and parents would come to our home to give them the device. It was a bit more physical. It's not like buying online. So I could actually tell, they're getting AngelSense too, because he understands. It's very interesting. That's another totally surprising benefit we didn't even imagine, that the child feels safer, and it's at a different level for every child. Itamar came to his nanny after a few days of wearing the device, pointing to his pocket, and he told her, "Daddy is here." That was really, and when he comes home, he says something like, "Daddy, did you see me on the app?" He understands I'm with him. And we had some unbelievable stories. A dad with child with selective muting, where the child didn't speak when they were outside. Actually, after wearing the device, they started speaking for the first time. I know it sounds almost voodoo, like unbelievable, but it is like that. It gives them more confidence.
Oh, I bet. And Terrence said online, she said, our son gets excited to see the pictures and will talk more and use his communication device to tell us more.
Wow. I'm so happy to hear that, really.
I know. I just, as an advocate for parents, I go to so many school meetings and we try to brainstorm solutions and come up with new ideas for accommodations or something that will help the child be more successful. And I just hope that more families will bring AngelSense into that conversation when they're at IEP meetings, because this has the benefits are just, wide open as far as how many kids that this would benefit. One of the things I wanted to mention, I don't know if you want to share your screen again so you could show the fall special as far as the sale price that parents can get the device now.
Sure. So we're always trying to find creative ways to make it easier for parents to use the device. So there's a monthly service which is $39.99, which is needed for such a high quality service that we're providing with the moms and everything around it and the cellular, and that's what we do. That's a big thing there. And the device, we try to, whenever we have an opportunity, to offer it in a way that will be very low cost to really reduce the upfront payment. We saw cases where parents saying, okay, I can handle the monthly fee, but it's hard for me. I need to save a little bit money for the upfront payment, and we lower it. So right now, the device is sold in this very, very low price of $19.99. So the upfront payment overall is $59.98, and then you're on, and there's 30-day money-back guarantee. It's pretty amazing, but what we've seen is that because we see that parents like it so much, we do this 30-day money-back guarantee over a month, and they just, very rare that people don't continue after that. So.
Oh, I'm sure. So that is like so reasonable. I mean, when you look at, just a few stops at Starbucks coffee or something, and instead you could be having, just the peace of mind. And then I think also how you were explaining your son's confidence and the safety and the security that he feels knowing that dad's with him by having his AngelSense in his pocket. So I'm just so thrilled that you were able to carve out some time from your busy schedule. I know that you were just in Portugal, so I think it would be fun for you to share with our audience the award that you recently received.
Yeah, that was very interesting. There's a very interesting group in Portugal that came from the university that did research, and they're called Patient Innovation. And they found out that in patients of chronic diseases, there's a very high percentage of innovation. Something unbelievable, like 8% of these patients actually invent something which is new to the world from their very deep motivation to make their life easier. And it's either patients or caregivers. And they have this very respectable committee of Nobel Prize winners from MIT, Harvard, all the Ivy League universities, and they chose us. So, and we won this award, and it was we're really very honored. The Minister of Science there came to award it, and we're very happy to be with other innovators, some unbelievable stories, and provide them inspiration and to be inspired by them. So, yeah, so it was very, very moving and inspiring.
Well, I'm sure that was such an honor and so well deserved because you just are having such a positive impact that we just really thank you for all the work that you've done. I know you have a Facebook page, and is that just called AngelSense?
It's AngelSense. I think Protecting Children is the exact name. Let's see. If you click on it, here it is. Yeah, it's AngelSense Protecting Children. That's the name. But
Okay.
if you click AngelSense on Facebook, you'll find it.
Right, right. So I encourage families to go over there because you can continue the conversation. We'll also be looking at your questions and responses. Even if you watch this in the replay, please post questions and comments because we can periodically check in and answer your questions. We had another comment from Karen who said when she was talking, we were talking about the sale price and the cost. She said, $40 a month reduces my stress. Totally worth it.
Thank you, Karen.
Yes. So
you can't imagine, Karen. You can't imagine. Every time it helps one parent, it's worth the world for us.
I bet. So I hope you're collecting all these stories because this is an amazing world that we live in now, and the ability for a small device like this that our child can carry with them is just the greatest, feeling of security and peace of mind for families. So thank you so much for being the inspiration to bring this to the United States. I don't know if other families have questions about how to advocate for using this device, but feel free to contact me here on my Visions and Voices Together Facebook page, and I can help you brainstorm some ways to advocate so your child can use it at school. The other thing is, if you like our Facebook page, Visions and Voices Together, then you'll get notifications when we do our weekly Facebook Live shows. But the other thing is, do you want to give Doron the address or the link for your website if people want to go to your website?
Yes, it's AngelSense, www.angelsense.com. Can you type it anywhere here? Let's see. Event chat. I guess I can type it here. So it's like this. Unless I mistype it, should be fine.
So I encourage parents to reach out. Like he said, all their customer service representatives are mothers just like us who have children with disabilities who use the device, who can give you all those practical tips of using it and answer any questions you have. And Doron, what closing words would you like to leave us with today?
I'm just, this call just inspires me and re-energizes every time you hear the parents, because the road is always not easy, right? You work so hard. My wife sees me, day and night. You go out. Itamar is my QA, and my testing. We test everything. So just thankful for the parents that shared their perspective. We are here. We're very determined to create a safer world for our kids. We're going to go all the way. We're going to do it. And the help of the community is very important for that. So just want to thank everybody.
Right. Well, thank you. And I want to stay in touch with you as you develop new things with your AngelSense device. And I'm sure we'll want to schedule another Facebook Live show with you so we can.
Would love to.
So thank you
Would
so
love
much.
to. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody take care, and we shall see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.